Grounded 1.0 has added a whole bunch of new accessories or trinkets that you can equip that give you all sorts of buffs. They can be found all across the yard, or some of them are random drops. Today I'm going to go through every single trinket or accessory you can get in Grounded, how to get them and what they do. Find the video useful, leave me a like, go and check out the rest of my guides. My name's Jade, let's go. So the first one I'm going to get is in the southeast of the yard, just between the deck and the bushes by this pipe. It can be a bit hard to spot as it doesn't stick out that much, but you'll find a skeleton here, rummage through it, and you're going to get a ominant one. We're going to go through all of these first. This is the compliance badge, and it's going to give you healing every time you parry. For more experienced players doing a fresh playthrough, they might really enjoy this one. If they're particularly good at parrying, it is going to mean that you won't really have to rely on as many bandages or healing, but it does only replenish a little bit, as you could see there. Worth noting also, all 6 of the ominant badges have negative effects as well. In this case, it means you're going to have less resistance to damage. So great to perfect parry, you get that heal, but miss it and you'll take more damage. Next, it's over to the haze. You'll need a grenade to get through the door like always, or swim through the exposed pipe. The haze entrance is here just to the south and a little bit to the west. When you go through the door where there's all the exploding weevils, turn right to get science points. That's always been there, and you'll find another skeleton. This is how you get the special forces one. The defense badge is going to give you extra damage resist, increase your resistance to taking damage, but it does mean that your attacks won't do as much damage. Next, we're up on the sandbox. You should see that little glint in the footprint in the daytime, but obviously at night time it's going to be a lot easier to get it without actually sizzling up or needing any armor. Of course, you do need the tier 2 shovels to get up, and once you do, you'll get the biomedical engineer card. Here's the location exactly on the map. This one will regenerate your health using any food that's in your inventory. So that's the positive effect, that it regenerates health. Obviously the negative effect is it will carry on regenerating your food even if you have already got full health. Next one we're looking for is the entomologist badge. You'll find it in the fallen barbecue zone. Just by this big boulder you should see the bones sticking out like it's been crushed. It's just slightly right to the marker that I've put here because you can't actually put markers into the barbecue zone. This badge is going to give you more attack damage, but it means that you won't be able to perfect block. So if you're having trouble actually perfect blocking, then this might be the one for you. But just remember, you are going to have to go through the sizzle zone. Although you can reach this without the sizzle actually taking effect, if you're super quick. Next, we're looking for the toxicology badge. You need to go into the entranceway where the T-Rex is in the pond, and then swim all the way through to the laboratories, or you can go through via the white frisbee at the other end of the pond. You've got to turn on the power to the breaker switches, so you have to go through this underwater laboratory. Some things have changed in the last 1.0 update. There's no longer a fan pushing you back here. Keep going up, and eventually you should come across a scab across the way just before you get to the actual switch. Pick up the scab obviously, and in the skeleton you'll find the toxicology one. This one is seriously good as it gives you protection against the haze as well as dust. So any dust mites that fire at you, you won't be slowed down by it or take less or be able to do less damage. The negative is that you're more susceptible to poison attacks. I've marked the location where you enter the T-Rex mouth, and just keep swimming through and eventually you'll find it. For builders out there, you want to go and get this one as soon as possible. It's under a blue cap in the upper yard. It's just by the edge by the pond, about 2 slabs away from the juice box. Here it is exactly on the map. You are going to need a tier 3 chopping tool, so either the pinch whacker or a termite axe, or maybe even the mantis axe if you've got it. Cut through the dead roots. And in the skeleton you'll find the intern badge. This is going to increase your carry capacity of planks and stems by a huge amount. You'll be able to carry 15 grass planks while having this accessory alone. Oh yeah, bonus is there's a bunch of milk molars at the end of this corridor as well. So when you combine this with maybe the ant armor and the leggings as well as a smoothie, you'll be able to hold up to 24 grass pieces in one hand. The negative is that you slow right down though when running around or walking. Next we've got the rotten berry piece, which is to the east of the oak tree, just inside the flower bed wall. This is one of the oldest mysteries in the game. Whatever happened to the berry monster? You're going to need around 5 ladders, maybe 4, to get up there to get into this little gap that's inside the wall. You should find a milk carton pretty close by to really show you guys exactly where it is. You need to break open the door with a bomb and then go through the laboratory. There's no other enemies in here. You'll get some upgrade materials and you do get the pinch whacker inside the rubbish basket here as well. So you can get a stupidly OP axe level 3 really early in the game as soon as you get a grenade. And then just in the caved in doorway you'll find the rotten berry charm. This one doesn't have any negatives because it only works with rotten weapons. It unleashes a toxic cloud that will do extra damage against enemies. It does seem to be only critical hits that it might unleash as well, so it's not guaranteed to happen all the time. But if you do manage to upgrade one of the rotten weapons all the way to max level, it could really make it a viable method to use something against some of the creatures. Next, we're in the upper yards next to the Java-matic machine. You're going to need to climb over on this wire here and you're going to need a tuft of grass with you. We're trying to get up on top of this box, or equally you could probably build at the back of the box between the box and the wall in that little alley. There is the power droplet here, one of the toughest ones to find. I spent 2 hours basically streaming trying to find it. Even with clues from Andy, one of the grounded Obsidian devs, I still couldn't find it. But eventually we did get it with a bit of help, and yes, you need to land on one of these little leaves here. It's really tough, it's really hard to get on top of this one, and you've got to make sure it's that leaf there, otherwise you won't be able to get up. Then go ahead and jump onto this one, and then you should go ahead and be able to jump on top of the actual branch here. As I said, you've got to get the position just right. If it's a little bit too low, you'll end up basically slipping down. And then from here, aim at the top or left hand side of the dirt and you should be able to get up onto the box. There's a mini little fight here as you've got 2 green shield bugs hitting here and 500 raw science. These guys don't respawn either, by the way. Keep running down and eventually you're looking for a crack in the wall that has got a particular watermark on it, which I'm going to show you guys. So not this one, nope, the one over on the right hand side, right towards the edge nearly. This is where you're going to have to drop down and making sure you're actually hugging the wall, as you can still slip all the way down to the actual corridor. Here's the location exactly on the map. And then yeah, just go ahead and drop down. Now turn and go to the left if you're facing the rock. And then you're going to drop down this one as well. It is a bit finicky. As I said, you still got to face the wall as there is a chance you can drop down. Then actually turn around and go the other way. Then simply go ahead and drop down again. And directly in front of you, you should find the power droplet. It's in the little bag here on the corner. The power droplet is going to give you extra unarmed attack. Unarmed attacks will deal more damage, and it's got fury. Unarmed attacks can trigger additional attacks. These additional attacks benefit from all perks and status effects, including ones meant for other weapons. So if you've got a mutation that helps out with more damage with spears, blades or hammers, then using unarmed with this accessory will also give you that additional damage still. So you can create some seriously OP builds using Truffle Tussle and Little Fist, or stick with some of the other weapon mutations and still do a huge amount of damage. Next is probably one of the most OP ones. It's Thor's Pendant. It gives you a 10% stat increase on almost anything. You need to go to the fallen stump just here and climb back up, pretty much sticking to the right hand side if you're facing the lower half of the yard. So it doesn't matter how you get up there, just try and get up. I focused on the mushrooms here and then jumped up on this side and then just kept going all the way up. You've got to go all the way to the end, as you're going to have to go back on yourself a little bit. Keep going as high as you can. If you see the toenail like I just did, then you need to get up to the higher bit still. And when I say 10% to absolutely everything. 10% to your defense, 10% to the damage you take, 10% to the damage you give. It really does increase almost every single stat. Nearly there, jump on from these mushrooms with a tuft onto this part here, and then you should be able to get up. Likewise, you've probably got other ways you can get up here as well, but you're looking for this little corner just here, and that's where it is. So that's pretty much all the pendants that you can get fairly easily without any additional work. All 6 of the ominant ones, the power droplet, the rotten berry and Thor's pendant. Next is Sarah's charm. There's actually 2 pieces of this. First you need to kill the assistant manager in the black ant hill and you'll get given the assistant manager card. This will open up a good few doors secretly hidden in the yard. One is below the actual oak tree in the pond. You'll find this place that's been there for a while now, but was never able to get into the room with the red button. When you get in the room with the red button, you'll notice inside the chest, Sarah's left charm. Now I call it Sarah's, it's actually the left elf charm, but it's Sarah, Wendell's daughter. You'll also notice there's a little CCTV camera. You need to press the red button and this opens up the stump laboratory. This is how you're going to get the second part of the actual charm. Now this is really endgame stuff. You shouldn't be trying to get this straight away. You've got to do so many steps first, like kill the assistant manager, etc. before you go in here. So don't run off to do it. It's a bit of a parkour challenge, so make sure you bring a tuft with you or try and aim for the sides here. Eventually you'll come to this room here with a chest inside, so make sure you grab it, and that's the right side of the charm. The left side has a chance to instantly repair your weapon when you attack a creature, and the right side has an instant chance to repair your shield when you defend. You can combine them both with pond moss and tough gunk to get both of them bonuses applied. Now we move on to the non-static ones. These next charms are only random drops from either food or enemies. The suspicious mint I got when I was getting a sticky key in the upper yard all the way in the wall, but apparently it's a really good chance of getting it from attacking any kind of mint. So make sure you harvest as much food as possible. You can get the same kind of charm making sure you harvest salt as well as the spicy cha-chas and the sour sweets. They'll all just apply elemental damage to whatever weapon you have. One of the best ones could be the hog stopper. You need to harvest as many of the hot dogs as possible and it will automatically regenerate your food when it's equipped. Now these are all random drops. Some of them are definitely weighted towards giving you much earlier, like the fresh, and some of them might only be 1% rate chance of dropping. So just don't ignore food even when you've got enough. Always make sure you go and harvest it just to see if one of them is. It should say on the icon that it is a suspicious or it's an everlasting one, so slightly different from what it's normally called. You can also get a fungal charm, which is probably the hardest to get. This definitely has a 1% drop rate. You need to go and harvest all of the white fungus, not the black ones. It's only the white ones that actually drop, and that's a good chance of getting it. What it will do is help you resist damage to explosions. Now the actual description says increase your resistance to damage, but I'm guessing it does mean only explosions only. Next up we've got a tufty tuft. It's going to be just basically a dandelion tuft that will last a lot longer. It'll have more durability on it. Kind of hope they change this and make it last forever in the future, or possibly maybe it can increase the durability of all your weapons for a little bit longer. You can get an insulating larvae spike from defeating the ladybird larvae. This will give you more resistance against sizzle when equipped. According to Discord and the peeps in there, this one drops pretty regularly. I've been hearing reports of 4 or 5 of them dropping for players already, so you should be able to get this relatively easy and early. And you might need it because apparently even with antlion equipped, some of this burning near the katana sword is still way too much. Obviously I'm using cheats here. Then the last two are related to bosses. You can get a trinket for killing the broodmother. This seemed to drop after only maybe taking it on 4 or 5 times, so I'm guessing I just got lucky. The mantis is really tough, we'll talk about that in a second. But the broodmother trinket is going to do more poison damage with any creatures that you summon. In fact, it adds poison damage to basically the spiderlings if you've got the mutation on that summons a little spiderling, or possibly even the mant. If you summon that mant, that will also do poison damage now. So yeah, it basically increases the damage output. I've got to say I'm not a big fan of it. I feel like it should be a lot bigger, maybe the poison, or just to increase the amount of time that your summons stick around. Obviously the broodmother hedge is inside the hedge. I shouldn't have to tell you guys where it is. And to go alongside the fungal one being super tough, the mantis seems to be even more difficult. Some players have got really lucky and got it pretty soon, but the majority of people I've seen comment have said they've killed the mantis even in creative mode over 100 times and it still hasn't dropped for them. The mantis trinket is going to give you energized critical hit. Pretty much every time you get a critical hit, you'll increase or replenish your stamina. So it could be really good, but yeah, maybe increase that drop rate for this just a little bit. And that is it. That's all 20 of the trinkets or charms available in the game right now. Look out in the horizon though. Andy has said he's going to add some more little hidables or collectibles, stuff to find in the next few hotfixes, so we may get a few more. There were some trinkets in the game files, like a zipline one that allows you to go up zip lines. So as soon as that gets added to the game, if it does, I'll show you guys where it is. And there was a couple of other ones to do with chopping webs and stuff. So I'll show you everything you need to know about that in the future. But there you go, 20 of the accessories, charms, trinkets, how to get them, what they do. If you found that useful, check out the rest of my guides. Make sure you like, make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you rat bags later. Oh, and a big shout out to Spicy, Robbie, and all the crew in Discord for helping me out a little bit with this video. Laters!